Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, we have Soren in the game. We're going to take a look at his skills in the in-depth description because there have been some changes to what we already knew about him, which I do like. So we're going to take a look at that stuff. And then we're going to do some base testing with him to get some initial thoughts on him. This is not a, you should pull in because of this. This is just my first impressions of the character. I will definitely come back to you guys with some more testing and any cool information I find out. But I want to give you guys my initial thoughts on the guy. So let's jump in. Let's take a look at his skills, and then, like I said, we will do some testing with him. So Soren, his ultimate, Soren selects the tile and rushes there to swing his weapon, dealing damage to adjacent enemies and knocking them back one tile. If the targets collide with allies, enemies, terrain, or battlefield borders along their path, they take additional damage and are stunned for 2.5 seconds. Now, the first thing I want to note in this is, when we saw it, it was just enemies or terrain. This includes allies. So if you knock them into your allies, that is once again another beneficial factor. The skill prioritizes targeting the tile that will cause the most enemies to collide when cast automatically. I do like this. How smart this AI is to actually know that, I don't know, but that is a great thing if it does actually do that. So you don't have to think about how am I going to stun the most enemies. It just does that. All right, next up, level 2 skill up. Now this is the important thing. Soren deals 400% the yada yada damage and stuns another enemy for 2.5 seconds if the target knocked back by this skill collides with them. So at base, when they showed us the initial sneak peek of Soren, it was only the enemy that he hit into another enemy that got stunned. The enemy that got hit into wasn't getting stunned, or maybe that was on his other skill, which still stays that way. But anyway, my premise was it was only enemies that got knocked into something that get stunned. But with his ultimate now, it's enemies that get hit by enemies that get knocked back also get stunned. So this makes it a lot better AoE stun capacity with his ultimate than if it didn't do this. So I do really like that. And then we just get damage increases for skill ups. The next one, Soren swings his weapon to deal damage to an enemy in melee range. I believe this is only single target, knocking them back one tile. If the target collides with allies, enemies, terrain, or battlefield borders along their path, they take additional damage and are stunned for 1.5 seconds. Soren repositions himself to ensure maximum collision between the targets when casting this skill. I'm curious to see how far he will reposition on this one as well. Then we've got a damage increase. Damage increase extends the stun duration of the collision to 2 seconds. Okay, not too bad. Extra control. Then we have this one. Soren reduces the damage taken from a single attack that exceeds 10% of his max HP by 70%, so good survivability. Resetting the cooldown of Repel Sweep, which is this one, which normally has an 11-second cooldown, so you get a reset on that, which is quite handy. The effect can be triggered once every 7 seconds, which can be reduced by skill power. So I believe that's what this means. The wordings on these are a bit crazy the way they do that, but I think with additional skill power, you can actually reduce the time of this. But I don't know how far by. This is something I'll have to dig into a bit more. But then with max skill up, it goes down to a base 6-second cooldown on this one, which honestly isn't too bad. But with these kind of survival abilities, as we scale up into harder and harder content, you're taking more and more hits that deal massive amounts of damage. So yes, this is really nice, but it becomes things like Brutus's complete immunity for a period of time that become the more valuable things. But I think in the, we're still what I consider early stages of the game. I think this is going to be very valuable along with his exclusive equipment. But I think these things will diminish over time as we start outscaling content, as we get more powerful characters. Just keep that in mind. His hero focus is haste, which is always a great one. Then we have this one, the rejuvenation, is his exclusive equipment. Soren gains 60 haste and recovers 4% of max HP and 40 energy per second for 12 seconds when his HP ratio is below 60%. This effect can only be triggered once per battle. Now, I believe the way this works is that when he drops below 60, it activates and lasts for 12 seconds, even if he creeps up above 60 during the duration of it, if that makes sense. Now, the big thing in this one for me is definitely the haste and energy regen. The HP, like I mentioned earlier, as you start scaling, 4% HP per second may sound like a lot, but if he's still in the firing line, it really ain't saving him. A burst heal would kind of save him, but I feel like this type of situation, I don't know how impactful that's going to be over the long term, but we'll have to wait and test it out. Now, at level 2, which is I think the main level to get to for free-to-plays that we're building him, would be my thought, because yeah, you get an extra 20 haste, which is nice, but it's how much investment do you want to put into that with all the other characters that you got to build, because obviously scarce resource. So level 2, Soren removes all control effects when the skill is triggered. It can be triggered repeatedly in a single battle with a cooldown of 25 seconds. So I think the control effect removal is the big thing there. 25 seconds, it depends how many battles you're doing that run for that long. That is a fairly long battle time, but I definitely think you could get some use out of that as well. So you'd basically have 12 seconds on, 12 seconds off if you were getting hit below 60 at that perfect timing. I would love it if there was another trigger condition for this, because it's like, to get his offensive capabilities, he has to be targeted and get low. Like, you can't, like... It's a nice effect, you're getting the energy and haste, but it's a hard condition to meet on an offensive standpoint, considering it's an offensive ability, if that makes sense. Let's go to this one. Increases the knockback distance of repel sweep to 2 tiles when deflecting a swing is triggered, dealing extra damage equal to 50% of the blocked damage. So this is kind of interesting, because it's when deflecting swing is procced. When deflecting swing is triggered. So with this one, because the deflecting swing, when something exceeds 10%, it's reduced damage taken by 90%. This could be a giga nuke, and if he repels that and just does 50% straight damage of that back to the enemy, if it's, and because most things like this have a scaling cap, like X% of his attack. But if you get damage reduced by 90%, so it effectively was like you could get an attack that's like 8 times his health pool, and he would still survive that, unless my math is wrong. That would be a big reflect damage. Like, maybe that comes into play for bossing as well. You know, you think about something like the big laser beam on the Skyclops, or any of those big attacks that he could maybe immune, like, or reduce that damage and reflect that damage back. Maybe that comes into some sort of bossing capabilities. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. Bossing is something I'm curious to see if someone can make him work. But that is that one. Like I said, if there is no cap on that, that's kind of cool. Moving on, increases own haste by 21 for 10 seconds after each ultimate cast. So honestly, this one ain't too bad for him, especially when you consider the amount of haste he stacks in his kit. He should start snowballing ults pretty decently. So that is a look at his kit. First impression, I think he's a great control unit. I think this is going to be very beneficial. I think this one, the fact that... where is it? This one. Yeah, the fact that he gets the stun on that, it basically means anytime you do it, you're going to run in, you're going to hit someone, they're going to be stunned, so it's an insta stun at the start of battle for someone. I think he does have good control capabilities. It just depends how much damage output and how effective that control actually is in the broader scheme, and that's what we're going to have to wait and see. Now, just in editing, because the video is quite long with the testing we do, I want to give you guys my thoughts as a TLDR before we get into the testing, because the testing is a lot of mechanics testing and stuff like that. I think this guy is going to be a PvP unit, and that's pretty much where he's going to sit. I think he may have some utility in AFK stages, but his problem is he's low, like he's a rogue, but he plays like a warrior, and I feel like he's going to be too squishy, even with all that survivability, to push high deficits. That's my feeling. Once again, that's just early impressions. I spoke to 2 of my whale friends who both said basically that his damage is not looking that great in Dream Realm. But the utility of PvP, especially on maps that have barricades and stuff like that, or the walls, I think PvP is going to be his main use. How good he's going to be there remains to be seen. So you know, that's where I kind of see it. But once again, this is after just a very quick, brief amount of testing. But I wanted to TLDR this before we go into all the testing, so you guys can see how all the mechanics work, because he does have some niche mechanics on his repositioning and stuff like that. But I just wanted to give you guys the TLDR on my thoughts around him so far, because once again, it is early days, and I will update you guys in future videos to let you know my concise thoughts. But that's my first impressions so far. So let's go in and let's do some testing. Now, we're over here on Mugen's account. He did spend a ton. He stopped stopped spending in the game, so I'm helping him maintain the account and doing some testing. I hit 3 pities on Soren. So, dude, I hate these banners. I have had 0 luck on them. I can never beat pity on them. But we've only got 6,000 diamonds left, so because we're not really spending anymore, this is where I'm going to leave Soren. Unless it looks like he's going to be really broken, and then this account I might dump some cash into just to get him built up, but we will wait and see. But let's go out and let's go into the AFK stages, and let's just do some multi-team where it's a little bit easier, so we can take a look. So let's go into team 2 here. And this is the team that I preformed just looking at it. Now, I'm just thinking about synergies here. Obviously, Brutus, like we've gotten the full Mauler team. Now, I'm using Elsa in here because I feel like they do have that synergy. However, because of the change to his ultimate, I feel like he will do decent in grouping teams as well. But Elsa's there just so we got the extra barriers. I just want to test that. Now, Shakira's here because obviously Shakira has the nice buffs for melee. And like everyone ends up running into melee, even Elsa when she uses her ult, she will eventually dart out. But I figure Shakir with him kind of has a nice little synergy, and then obviously we're going Smokey for the healing. So let's give this kind of thing a test and see how it goes. You know what? I might turn the game volume up because otherwise it's a bit sad not hearing the game volume. So let's do that quickly. Let's go there. Here it is. Here it is. All right, let's go. So you can see he does the knockback straight away, but that character was stunned by the Elsa already. So I don't know if Elsa and him is a bit of overkill almost. Okay, there you can see he jumps into the middle and knocks 2 enemies back. So he does target that ult pretty decently. Now we will run through this team a couple times just to test it out and see how we go. Now, obviously keep in mind, we're not using like an optimal team. Normally you're running Scarlita first team and then you're running Odie second team, but I just want to see what kind of damage. Like obviously he's only a legendary plus, so keep that in mind. We are doing a bit of a scuff test here. Oh dude, I couldn't watch the replay. All right, let's just run this one more time. I want to watch it on 1x speed actually. So you can see run in, he does the sweep, knocks them back into the pillar, so we're good, we get the damage. Now we've got another pillar behind them, so if he procs that repel sweep, which he just did, you can see he stuns them again into there. Then he jumps into the middle. Unfortunately, we only get the 1 stun because the Cassidy didn't actually get pushed back into a barrier. So she didn't get it. And at this point, this is where having high investment into him is going to be a necessary thing because our squishy one of him struggles to survive in that situation because of that. So let's just go in again. I just want to watch it again and see how he functions. Once again, this is just testing functionality and then we can go in and test the other stuff. But you know, let's just try this with Odie instead of her. I want to see if we still get the knockback happen. So because she knocked back into the Shakir, we still got the stun on her, which is honestly pretty solid. So here he comes, boom, and we got allies around. Once again, if they get knocked into allies as well, they get stunned. So let's watch his first ultimate here. Boom. And we get the double stuns because they do get knocked into walls and into allies. I think that, honestly, the being knocked into allies thing is actually a pretty big thing. And this was a pretty spread enemy team. So that is, like, once again, taking him into an Odie team, which is an already fairly safe team. How do I, do I have to defeat both battles to actually check this? Because I don't think we're winning this one at the moment. Let's have a quick check. This one's been really awkward for me. Dude, are you kidding? I can't check DPS output? Oh, no. Guys, is there a way to check this? Wait, is there a way to check it? Dude, are you serious? I can't check the DPS output, not even after the battle. Rip. Let's try and jump into a single one. We're going to go with... We're going to go with it over here. But mechanically, I think he's quite sound. But once again, you've got so many options in this slot that it becomes, is he really worth that spot? But once again, I will jump on somebody's account and do some testing for you guys maxed out and see how he goes. But let's just go with Smokey. Let's go with Brutus. We could probably go Antandra as well in this, but let's just go Brutus. You know, let's drop the Shakir and let's go Elsa and Odie. We're getting into like cope territories here, but I'm really curious to see how some of this goes. So we're gonna go like this. Let's do it like this. Okay, so did he get the stun on the leafy thing at the front there? Dude, I gotta put this on 1x speed again. Now we've been pushing this with Skull Leader team, so we're probably gonna struggle using like some unorthodox team. But I want to test again. Okay, we do stun that enemy. It knocks into the pillar that was provided by Elsa. The problem is once Brutus is dead, we're dead. So I need to start Brutus back 1 tile so the enemies advance a bit quicker if I'm doing this. Once again, not an optimal team, but just let's do this. Okay, unfortunately Smokey gets killed instantly there, so yeah, that ain't working. Right, let's go again. Dude, that multi-team battle is the perfect one to test it, but I want to check the damage output, but I just can't. It's killing me. Alright, so if we go boom. Wait, what if we do the Shakir thing? Let's just do this. Just do it like this. Let's see. We do have the survival one on. We could change that, but I think we kind of need the survival. Okay, he has advanced a long way, meaning he's going to get tapped very, very soon. We do get the Shakir buff, though. Maybe that helps. He did reposition pretty heavily to go ahead and get that knockback, which is very interesting. So he will reposition, but I think he only repositions based on the enemy that he is targeting. To my understanding, based on that, what we just saw. Let's see again. So you can see, I think with his repel sweep, he will reposition, but he won't retarget. So he'll reposition on the enemy he's currently targeting to make that enemy take more, but he won't change targets. So that is how I'm understanding it. So let's actually do this. Let's go boom. Let's go you. Where's Antandra at on this account? She's not very well built. Okay, so we can't even do that. Let's bring the Thorin. Let's do, where's it? Where's my man? Let's just play with this. Once again, we're not trying to use optimal teams. I'm just looking at mechanics. Okay, so that enemy, but you could see there, he didn't actually work all the way around to the back of the enemy to knock them, which is an interesting one for me. So he will reposition to, like, so we'll watch this one again. So watch Soren when he uses his repel sweep. So he hits this enemy, and you'll see he does the repel sweep there. The enemy does not get stunned because he didn't knock them into anything. But if he had repositioned himself to the back end of that enemy, he would have actually knocked them back into the Thorin, but I guess there's a limitation on how much of the diameter he will go around an enemy to actually knock them back, which is interesting. Okay, let's go with this. Let's pump in an Elsa just for fun. Once again, not saying these are the teams. I'm just having a play around with mechanics here. So let's see if he'll reposition himself. He didn't have to reposition on that one, and he died straight away anyway. Yeah, dude. The low ascension ain't gonna cut it. Let's go back to this multi-team stage, because I feel like it's more of a reasonable stage. Unfortunately, we just can't see DPS. But once again, we've got that. Let's try Elsa in the spot of the Shakir. Let's have a play with this. So once again, Elsa puts the pillars up. He knocks them into the pillars. We get insta-kill on that one. We go Odie up to there. Now he is pretty far forward. Brutus is going to take some heat. Elsa's going to take some heat. But unfortunately, Soren is right in the thick of it. Okay, he does do the knockback there, which is good. He stunned the Thorin into the Brutus. Now he's going to use his ult. I'd imagine he's just going to go ult straight in the middle. Okay, didn't even get around to an ult. So we must really need to unlock... Dude, why can I not watch the replay on this shit? That is such a bad system. I'm assuming he doesn't do too much damage. But let's go back again. Let's go back into this one just because it's a bit more of a fair one to test on. So... I think he needs that extra haste. He needs that extra haste provided by his exclusive equipment when he drops low and that energy regeneration. So I think that's going to be a big thing for him to snowball those stuns and like sort of lock out an enemy team. So I think if you can get a team that survives early, get him into that snowball stage, and then he can start getting like by the time he gets like 2 ultimates, if the enemy team's grouped, should be pretty good. Now I'm just gonna tease here with this is absolute troll, because this definitely ain't gonna work, but I'm curious to see if we could somehow clutch something, because this team's a bit tricky. Dude, where is he? There he is. Yes. Alright, let's do it like this. Just bear with me for a sec. Just bear with me for a sec. Oh, wait, no, there's no way he's gonna get an ult off in time. He's gonna be dead before ult. I was gonna say it was gonna be interesting to see with the grouping. Wait, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. We're just having fun here. Wait, where's Arden?
World has its own rules.
Let's bring a bit of control into this. I want to see the grouping. I want to get the enemies grouped and then like, oh dude, he runs too fast. Dude runs way too fast. I want to see him get an ult, but we're not going to get an ult quick enough is the problem. Maybe if I put the attack speed one on, we'll see. But like, I feel like in this enemy formation, when he ults, he would ult and stun all of them if they're grouped. Obviously, we've got Seth who's like just ruining our formations there. Dude, we actually got close to an ultimate. Let's just do one more thing here. You know what? I might even try. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Everyone.
Let's try this quickly. Rip up. Oh, dude, I boxed him in. Tilt, you're on. Rip. And then he runs straight to the front. Nah, shit, we ain't gonna get it. I think obviously grouping is going to be beneficial with him, but I also do think because of his knockbacks and the allies being a part of it, he doesn't really need that, and we can get into these types of teams where he does do it. But once again, that is just an early look. I think mechanically, he's not too bad. I think my biggest issue with him at the moment is the requirement of dropping to below 60 health to get an offensive boost. I think that's my biggest issue with his kit. That is tied to his exclusive equipment, which we don't have in this testing. But once again, mechanically, it looks like he'll move about a quarter of the way around a character's position. It's almost like he'll move one tile. So if we look at Thorin here, and he's going to knock Thorin, and say there's an enemy or an ally or a building on this tile behind Thorin, and he's right here. He will move one tile to attack Thorin into that, but he won't move more than one tile to deflect. So his repel sweep sort of has this type of range, one tile either way that he will move to reposition to hit the enemy to make them stun, but he won't move 2 tiles or 3 tiles. That's pretty much what I gathered from that bit of testing. But once again, he does get the reset on the repel sweep as well, which is pretty decent for a little bit of control in a clutch situation. But once again, he's kind of awkward in that a lot of his offensive capabilities, because that can be viewed as an offense capability, a lot of them are tied into his defensive capabilities. And I don't think he's tanky enough, or his kit doesn't have enough in it to make it to where he can like be a tank in the front row. So unless we got to use some support text to make him tanky, and this is the awkward thing with the building of him. But once again, that is some initial looks at him. I definitely think he's better than what I imagined he was going to be, due to the fact that hitting enemies into allies, and also with his ultimate, the enemies that are hit by the enemies knocked back get stunned. I think that does really increase his utility. I'm curious to see in boss fights whether people can make him work. All that extra haste and stuff I feel like could be quite valuable on him, and make him deal some decent damage if his raw numbers are enough. But the problem is with bosses, he doesn't have any clause in his ability where if it's a boss, he gets the extra damage. So he's going to miss the extra damage from knocking back the bosses, which if you look at his abilities once again, it's actually a fair bit that comes in on the bonus damage. So if we go here, you can see the bonus damage is 400%, where the base damage is only 250. And this one, the bonus damage is 250, where the base is only 180. So I think he's probably not going to have that position in bosses unless there is some cheese that you can work around with his Supreme Plus, where you reflect a hell of a lot of damage. But besides that, I don't think his bossing potential will be there. But once again, I will do some more testing and get back to you guys in more videos. But that is our first look at Soren. Let me know what you think about the guy. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.